Discovered my husband is sharing his hotel room with another woman from his bowling league, and now I'm losing sleep with scenarios. My 36F husband, 42 male, is currently in Las Vegas for a national bowling tournament. He is there with his mom and her friends/folks from their bowling league. He is an avid bowler, bowls in a Tuesday night league, often in state tournaments and sometimes in national tournaments. Typically I go with and sometimes bowl myself. This year, we decided I would not go, but stay home with our 3 boys, ages 4, 8, 10, due to heat and smoke in Vegas in July. My husband and I have been married for 11 years. This is his second marriage. His first marriage failed because he walked in on his wife cheating on him with another man. I have never, not once, thought that he would ever be intimate with another woman while he was with me. He's just not that type. So, onto this trip. Typically when he goes on a trip without me, at least one a year given my job and time off requirements, he stays in a hotel room with his mom or our boys. 3 nights ago, I was on FaceTime with him while he was in his hotel room. It was really nice and he was talking about possibly taking a nap for lack of sleep. I asked if he had his room to himself, because that would have been awesome, and he said oh no? Is sharing with me. I asked him who that was, and he said something, I don't remember, aside from she. I said wait what? And then he went on to explain that he was supposed to share the room with his mom's boyfriend, but plans changed and now he is sharing the room with another woman on the trip. He told me that I played cornhole with her last month at a get-together. I reminded him who I had played cornhole with, him and a girl, but not one with the name he was giving me. I have no idea who this woman is, at which point he got very confused. He did not understand why I was upset or frustrated, so I dropped it because I did not want to deter from his time and his bowling. I know I should have asked how he would have felt if the roles were reversed, but I didn't. Partly because I didn't want to fight, we hardly ever fight, while the kids were up, and partly because I didn't want to hear him chalk it up to my imagination. I have hardly slept since that night, and my dreams have been chock full of worst-case scenarios, and still I have not really brought it up again. There have been a few occasions in which he has talked about taking naps and how lame he is in Vegas. I have mentioned a few times, sort of sarcastically as a side, that he would be having more fun if he were sharing a room with me, or if I was there instead of his present company, but he has brushed it all aside. So here we are, he has spent the last 3 nights in a hotel room with a woman that is not me or his mother. Amita for being upset? Update 1. Okay, so I took some advice and grew a backbone. I texted him a little while ago instead of waiting until he got home. He and our boys are leaving for another trip tomorrow morning. I could not get the time off of work, so I wanted to make sure we had the conversation fully before he left again. Before I give the update, I wanted to make a couple of things clear. I do trust my husband. He has never shown he would be the kind of person to cheat, and that is not what truly concerned me. Even though I did have some pretty unpleasant dreams. My issue was that he was not upfront and honest with me. If I had done the same thing, he would have lost his mind, understandably. This is why I started the original post with he's just not that type. We do generally have great communication. The issue here is that I like to have this kind of conversation face to face rather than over the phone. It's just not something I like to hash out while we are not in the same space. Obviously, in this situation, I should have made the exception, and have now done so. Now, for the update, I texted him today to tell him that this situation has been bothering me for the last 3 days. I had questions and we needed to have this conversation. I asked who the woman was, how old she was and why didn't he tell me about the situation before I found out by accident. There was a mix-up with the rooms, something about someone not going so people were shuffled. He was paired with a woman about my age. He said he didn't think it would be a big deal and didn't want to inconvenience everyone else on the trip. He also said he did not want to upset me, which is why he didn't write out tell me about it. He did tell me that I never had anything to worry about and he made sure they weren't in the room alone together aside from when they were sleeping. I know, but I really do believe him on this. I was honest with him and told him that if roles were reversed, out of respect for him, I would have called him right away to make sure he was okay with it. I told him that while I trust him implicitly, I should not have found out the way that I did. And he should not have blown off my concern. I told him that the lack of upfront communication felt suspicious, regardless of intention or what actually happened. As for not upsetting me, I told him I would have understood and not been upset if he had just been honest. He has apologized profusely. I told him next time to just communicate. He is adamant there will not be a next time. So, call me naive if you want, but I am dropping it at this point. He will be home this evening and I intend on having a nice evening with him before I don't see him again for another 2 weeks. Update 2. I am not handling this as well as I thought I was. I had decided to let it go. I know he wasn't doing anything with this other woman. You can disagree and call me crazy if you'd like, but I do know that. However, as much as I have tried, I can't get past the fact that he made the decision to do something he knew I wouldn't be okay with, and not tell me about it. It all feels just so messed up. I have talked to a few of my coworkers. I don't have really any friends that aren't friends of his that I talk to on a regular basis, and there is no way I will talk to my family because that is a shit storm I can't handle right now, and they are all shocked and more angry for me than I have let myself be. Most of them know him, the kind of person he is and what ended his first marriage. He used to work at the same company. We had less than 24 hours together before he His mom and all 3 of my children took their trip to the other side of the United States. I have been sitting in my feels and will continue to do so until they get back, almost another week from now. I was on the phone with them this evening before they went to bed, and one of the first things my husband said to me was, "I'm sharing a bed with a redhead tonight." And I almost came unglued before I realized he was talking about one of our boys. We have 3 sons. After a very long pause, I said, "You better be talking about," and I was so angry I don't understand how he didn't pick up on that. Every conversation we have had has been short and to the point because I'm really just not interested in talking to him. I have been calling my oldest son, and talking with my boys instead. His mom hasn't really said much to me, which makes me think he has said something to her. Which is fine, of course, I really don't care about that. Bottom line is, I don't know what to do. It is midnight at home. I tried to go to bed 2 hours ago and just could not stop sobbing, so I got up and let it go. It felt good to get it out, but I know I need to talk to someone. I have support lines through work I can call, but won't tonight. Far too many drinks and I don't want to bring that into it as well, but I will call tomorrow. I know I should be upset and angry and not let it go. But I am afraid when I do talk to a professional they will say I'm blowing it out of proportion. I will still call, but I need to get my head straight first. He is bicycling for 7 days, over 400 miles, so as much as I want to tear him a new one right now, especially after his completely insensitive and clueless joke this evening, I have not. Because I want him home safe and sound. Regardless of my feelings in this moment, the most important thing is that my children's dad comes home safe so we can hash this out at least in the same city and not while he is 1,000 miles away. With his mom. And my children. Update 3. I am sorry it has been a bit since I have updated. Things have been a lot. I am also sorry this post is very long. My family came home a day early, so I took 2 extra days off of work to see them and figure things out with my husband. After we had unloaded and put everything away, we had dinner and watched a show. After putting the boys to bed, my husband and I went to our room. It was pretty clear he thought he was going to get lucky, because he was very confused when I turned the light on. I told him that I had questions and I needed him to answer them. He was hesitant but agreed. I asked him who this woman is, how old and is she married. I still don't know who she is, but he did confirm she is younger than me, and not married. I then asked who made the decision he would be sharing a room with her. He said that his mom said it would be really great if they shared so she could spend the 3 nights with her boyfriend/not boyfriend. I asked him why he didn't tell me about it. He said he was just so tired and had such a long day he didn't think about it. Conflicting with his earlier, "I didn't want to upset you." He said that he didn't think I would ever question his intentions, so why would he think he would have to tell me? I told him it wasn't about questioning his intentions or fidelity, it's that what they did was completely inappropriate and disrespectful to me and our marriage. And at the absolute very least, he should have sent me a quick text explaining the situation. I also told him that his mom is not always right. He apologized profusely, said he shouldn't have put his mom before me, he didn't think it would be a thing because he would never try to hurt me and he thought I knew that. All the things. And we honestly talked it out and worked through things for a solid few hours. We came to a really good place and connected for the first time in a long while. Then he went to work the next day, which hurt because I didn't really have the time to be calling in. I am severely behind at work, but I did anyway because I wanted to do the right thing for us and to take care of us. But because he just spent 2 weeks going all over the country doing something super fun and now he is super behind in his job, he couldn't afford to take any more time off. So that really hurt, but I let it go because he really was behind and I at least had the boys that I got to catch up with. That day my mom called to see what we were doing for my birthday, which was 2 days away. I had honestly forgotten about it with everything, so I told her I didn't know and asked if my husband had called her. She said he had not. So I told her I would let her know when we came up with a plan. That night, I asked him if he had a plan, and he said, "Oh, I don't know, what do you want to do?" And that really hurt, but I let it go because we have had so much going on. I told him it would be great if we had a barbecue and he invited people and got the groceries and he agreed. I specifically asked if he would call my mom. He did get some of the groceries, but not all of them. And he did surprise me with a cake. But that was it. I ended up inviting everyone last minute, having to apologize along the way, and had to go to the store twice to get the rest of the things we needed. At the party, he started showing our friends the pictures from his trip, pictures I haven't even seen yet. I was so mad, upset, frustrated. He didn't catch on. So then it came time for gifts. His was a card game and a back rub. I felt like I was just slapped in the face. To be clear, I don't place a high value on gifts. If you get me something great, if you don't, that's fine. But he didn't get me anything for Mother's Day, but I got him a whole slew of things for Father's Day for his trip and an Xbox game he wanted. I also planned each of those days by myself. And he just went to the other side of the country, and all he thought to grab for me was a card game? I didn't want to fight in front of our friends, so I let it be. I didn't really expect more than that anyway, but it still hurt. Then I went back to work and things were meh. Anything he did irritated me. Anything his mom did irritated me. I was getting so frustrated and sad and angry and just not myself. Then I had a medical issue, something that pokes its little head back up every 5 years like clockwork, but I had been ignoring because of everything going on. Come back and I went to our urgent care to take care of it. But I had to take care of all sorts of things first so that me going to the doctor didn't hamper my husband's day, so I was really irritated in the morning. It didn't help that his mom came over and I just can't handle her right now. It also didn't help that he told me that morning about all the plans he had come up with for our son's birthday in a few weeks. I was mad at myself for being upset. I should be stoked my husband is thinking about our son and wanting to give him a great birthday party, but I was so deflated and sad and angry in that moment. But he had to go to work, so I left it alone. So before I went, I sent him a text apologizing for being irritated. I told him that I'm not in a good place mentally or physically and I'm really struggling. He asked how he could help, and I responded that I really didn't know. And then I saw the doctor and he referred me to surgery. This will be the third time I have had surgery for his. I was so frustrated and sad and hurt, I decided to just put it all out there. And since he can't seem to find the time to actually talk to me, I texted him a novel, laying out everything that is on my mind. The trip, my birthday, him not taking time, my son's birthday, all of it. After an hour he had not responded, so I sent him another text saying that maybe he could just tell me I'm not crazy and we will get through this together, or something like that at least. He responded to that saying that he loves me and has lots to say but can't say it over the phone. So then I went to work and did the things. I felt a little better. He didn't discredit all of my frustration, so things were okay. That night he called to tell me he loved me and was going to take the next day off to spend with me. It was also my day off. I was pretty darn stoked. The next day I asked him what were the things he wanted to say. And he said he didn't want to say it in front of the kids. So then that night I asked him again, and he said that we have been having such a great day, he didn't want to ruin it and me get all emotional, so he wasn't going to say it then. I felt like I had just been punched in the gut. So wait, you have been so nice since I texted you, but now I'm going to be sad and upset? What is going on? It is now the next day, and I just asked him again. He completely blew me off and went to town to pick up our son from camp. I am at a loss. I don't know what to do. I can only ask him to talk to me so many times. He doesn't share his thoughts or emotions often, but I would think he would do it now, right? I don't know what to do. Update 4. Your husband was in a hotel room with a younger woman for days. He gaslit you that it's no big deal and acting like you're the crazy one for thinking it's a problem. In what world are things okay after that? How much of a doormat has he made you that one conversation blows that over? Your mill set him up to cheat on you. In no world is him sharing a room with a younger single woman appropriate. He knows that. She knows that. If you think he's a good boy, I don't know what kind of blinders you have on or Kool-Aid you're drinking, but stop. He blew off your birthday. He couldn't even muster going to the grocery store, let alone sending some texts. He was away from you for 2 weeks and couldn't even bring you some postcards from along the way? My son was on a school trip for 4 days. He brought me all kinds of little things because he was in a gas station and saw this pretty postcard I would like. Or at this gift shop and thought that keychain was something I would like. So, your husband is less considerate than a teenager on a school trip with all his teenage buddies? He gives you bullshit after bullshit and just pretends things are fine. You lay it all out there via text and again, he blows you off. Gives you some love bombing in the form of family time, and expects to sweep it under the rug. He's hoping to wait you put before you find out what he actually did in that hotel room. Or how many times he's met that woman before. Or just to make sure he can feed you bullshit after betraying your marriage with his mom's help and you'll just ignore it. At some point, you have to acknowledge you have a shitty husband and a very unhealthy marriage. How many ways does he have to show you you're not a priority? He doesn't respect you, and he could not care less about your feelings before you believe him. Update 5. When I finally did get him to tell me what he wanted to say, he ended up saying it in front of the boys anyway. He only brought up 2 things I had talked about in the novel I had sent him. The first was that I was going to look for a counselor. He said he loved that idea and that it really helped him when he was talking to one. Then he brought up that I had mentioned how much weight I have gained since the birth of our last child. He said that he still finds me crazy attractive, as should be evident by the fact that he still shows up in bed. Then he started talking about what I shouldn't be doing if I wanted to lose weight, and apologizing for the fact that he and the boys have ridiculous metabolisms and don't have to worry about it. I asked him to stop trying to give me weight loss advice. That wasn't the point of me telling him. I asked if there was anything else he wanted to say and he said no. Just those 2 things. So at this point this is where I am at. My husband did not cheat on me. I do know this is true. I am still not in a good place because of so many things happening at once, so I am seeking help. Thanks for the advice and support from most of you. But this is my last post on this. I won't be able to actually work on my marriage reading some of these responses. But don't worry, he still wants to fuck you as is. Update 6. So, I called him out, really talked to him about how I was feeling and we are good. Obviously I have a lot of work to do on my own, and will include him in that growth when needed. This morning he got a message request on Facebook from a throwaway fake account. Something along the lines of, I heard you had a good time in Vegas, do you know what your wife thinks? He showed this to me willingly and as a question like, do you possibly know who this is or why they would send this? Very innocent and open, as we have discussed in the last few weeks. At first I thought this message came from someone on Reddit. So I deleted my posts. Of course I have found my posts on several other websites, so I'm sure it will get back to him eventually. I wasn't sure how, but I thought maybe someone tracked him down. I'll be honest, that idea did not make me feel very safe. However, one of the things mentioned in the Facebook message is not something I shared here. Which got me thinking and racking my brain. There are two people I have told all of the details to, and neither one of them would ever send him a message like this. They are Freya, NDS with both of us and have helped me see all sides in this situation. They would have given him crap, not called him out like this. Then I thought, well shit. Maybe it's a friend or BOE friend of this woman, I know her name, I just can't place her face, so don't know who she is, and maybe they just found out. And maybe this person has information that I don't have. So, I have messaged several accounts with that name and picture with the same message. Did you message my husband? And I don't want to start a fight with you if you did, I just need some answers if you have them, hoping to get a response from the account that actually messaged my husband. He is at work, when he gets home I will check his phone for any info, again, and link his messages on the computer so I can see. I'm not going to be a doormat, but I also have a hard time believing my husband would cheat on me. Well, I guess right now in this moment I don't, but I digress. If he did cheat, he has been pretty darn open with communication in the last couple of weeks, and showing me this message makes it extra hard to believe. But I still have this pit in my stomach and I need to find some answers so I can move past this. Either way, I will not be posting this until after I go through his phone and link his messages. I could not find anything on his phone. I also could not get the Messenger app to link properly to the computer, so I am still in the blind hoping for a response from someone. I just told him my theory that it is the other woman's friend/boyfriend trying to start trouble. He says he doesn't think so. Says he is sure it came from our conversations via text and phone. Like a phishing scam. I have no words. If he actually thinks this is what happened, he has lost his mind. If he is trying to pass this off so I don't question him anymore, well now I'm pissed. I'll be talking to his mom tomorrow. Refused to give my cheesecake recipe to my sister who never accepted me as a gay man. Now our family is torn apart. I, 58 male, am the youngest of a large, dysfunctional family, and while I am at least cordial, I would prefer to have as little contact with my surviving siblings as possible. The one sister, Beth, I did get along with has since passed on. I'm not what you would consider an expert baker, but I enjoy it. My late sister and I used to get together for Christmas at her place. One of my contributions to the dinner was a cheesecake I made from a recipe I found on the internet. The first time I tried it, I thought it was decent, but also felt I could improve it. And over the years, I've experimented with the recipe, adding new ingredients, changing the amounts of other ingredients. I eventually perfected the recipe and I think I've done sufficient modifications to make it officially my cheesecake recipe. Since my sister's passing, I still make it and give it away to friends, in Beth's memory. I've gotten many compliments on it, even some saying it's the best cheesecake they've ever tasted. One person I made it for paid me very generously to make another one. The problem now arises when another of my sisters, Jean, came down for a visit. I wasn't happy about this, but I humored her. She asked me to make the cheesecake I made for Beth and me. So, I did. She loved it and asked for the recipe. I gave her the website I got the recipe from, not my version. However, upon making it herself when she returned home, she quickly picked up on the fact that it wasn't the version I made for her. So, I conceded that I may have changed one or two things and suggested she experiment with it and make it her own. But she wanted to know the exact recipe I used. I refused, saying that it was my recipe and I'm not giving it out. Although I did give it to my best friend's teenage daughter, Allison, who is starting her own baking business. Since my best friend is chosen family, I decided I could share it with his daughter, but told her it was a family recipe now, and to share it only with her children when she has them. She said she understood, but we're family. My sister protested. Oh, you are so not my family, I thought. She's persisted in badgering me for it. And even gotten her own kids involved. Truthfully, I have nothing against her kids, or any of my other siblings' kids. It's just my siblings themselves that I would prefer to have nothing to do with. Even two of our other siblings have joined in demanding my recipe. This isn't persuading me, it's only making me angry. Ida for refusing to share my recipe? Why did you make this super special cake for her when she visited? I should have included it in my op. Beth was the only sibling who accepted me as a gay man. So, of course, she'd be the first of my siblings to die. Gee, thanks, God, I like to call it Beth's cheesecake, since I spent all that time perfecting it. And I knew that Beth would want me to make it for Jean. I freely admit, Beth is a much better person than I am. As I said in my original post, I'm not really all that great a baker. I can make good stuff, but I think it's more due to quality ingredients I choose. Like I can make great chocolate chip cookies, but that's because I use the Ghirardelli chocolate chips. Quality ingredients really does make a difference. And I also look the right mixture of dark brown sugar, light brown sugar and white sugar to get the right texture. Apart from that, I just follow the recipe on the bag. You can't really go wrong with that. I'm not a skilled baker at all. I do alright. But it's more a matter of choosing quality ingredients. We're family. Is a convenient trope people pull out of their behinds when they already know they don't treat family members with consideration, kindness or respect. I'll be family when you treat me like your family. This is fixable Jean. But, that means you'll have to change into someone better. Let me know when the new and improved who shows up. A recipe is the least of what I'd give someone who treats me with consideration, kindness and respect. Update 1. I was very touched by some of your comments and got rather emotional. And I'm not even sure why. And some of you were outright hilarious. But you also gave me something important to think about, namely, why am I even bothering to walk on eggshells trying to placate people who have rejected me? I guess I was so used to doing it, for the sake of our mother. Our father died when I was 18. But mom died in 2015, and Beth died about a year and a half later. So, who am I keeping up this facade for? Because I happen to live in Florida, and they live up north, they refer to my home, which I purchased without any help from anyone, as the vacation home, which is why Jean felt free to invite herself to my house. So, I don't need to keep the peace for anyone. Especially for people who are so openly contemptuous of me and have me adopting this servile role to stay in the family's good graces. Well, screw their good graces. I finally realized that I don't give a shit if they like me or not. So, I followed the suggestion a few of you have made and blocked them. And it actually feels quite nice to have done it.